Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Frank.
You bet.
So this all started, I was having coffee at one of the coffee events about a month ago with John, and we started talking about the dark web and what's out there, and I think I scared the bejeebies out of him. He goes, it's not fair that I know all this. You need to scare everybody else too. So I'm going to talk to Frank and get you in as a speaker. So here I am. So today I'm just going to talk about what's out there, how viruses, how malware comes about, how your businesses get attacked, and then how you can protect your businesses and some of your personal life as well. This is mostly focused on business cybersecurity and how to protect your business. So cyber security, scams are huge right now, and they're growing every year, especially with AI has really launched it even better. This year, by the end of 2025, they're anticipating the cybercrime is going to cost the global economy $10.5 trillion. That'll be the third largest global economy in the world, behind the US and China. So if it was a country, it would be the third largest global country in the world. By 2030, they anticipate that will double to $20 trillion. So if, as Michael's looking at getting into cybersecurity, there's going to be jobs that aren't even invented yet to protect businesses from cybercrime. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So it all starts with malware. So does anybody know what malware is? I didn't tell you. This is going to be an interactive presentation. So when you see a blue star, that means you're going to answer questions. So what is malware? Anybody want to take a shot at it? Just throw it out there. Give it a shot.
It's software.
Software, you're on the right line. Very good. Beth, give that guy a candy bar. See, there's rewards for answering. Malware is a software designed to infiltrate computer systems without the owner's informed consent. In a nutshell, it can be ransomware, it can be viruses, it can be all kinds of attacks. It's software that's not intended to be on your computer that's been loaded there intentionally. So where does it come from? Most people think that the malware people are these smart guys that are creating the software and they're pushing it out to your computers. That's not how it gets there. They buy it on the dark web. It's just like, anybody been out on the dark web? Raise your hands. Good, don't go there. Because it's a dangerous place, and I'm going to show you a couple of snapshots. It's very similar to Amazon. You go to different pages of business, and you can click and select what you want to. You pick out what kind of malware you want. You pick out how many email addresses you want, and you just check the boxes. Pay with Bitcoin. By the way, that's why Bitcoin was invented for crime, because it's untraceable with the blockchain technology. And you check out. They send you your malware, they send you your list of email addresses. Well, they launch it to your email addresses. You get these malwares, and then they just sit back and wait for their prey to take the bait, and then they attack it. That's 99% of how all the malware, whether it's ransomware, whether it's viruses, that's how they all get launched. In 2023, in July, ransomware used to be run by smart guys who would work on infiltrating small businesses, and then when they get down into your database, they would lock it down, send you an email, send us a ransom payment, otherwise you're not getting your data back. In 2023, they automated that whole process, and now they can purchase ransomware on the dark web, buy the emails, buy the addresses to businesses, launch it out, and hope that somebody clicks on it that downloads it into your system. It's simply that easy. Now everybody's at the same point where Frank was at our coffee a while back. So here's a picture of one of the dark web pages. I just did a couple of snapshots. This one's called Wall Street Market. And there's several things on here. So let's take a look at what's inside there. On the left-hand side to you, there's a search engine, very similar to Amazon. You can buy drugs. There's 4,842 vendors to buy drugs from. You can buy counterfeit money. There's 239 counterfeit money vendors. And the list goes on. There's hardware, there's services, software, and malware is the one I'm talking about today. You buy it all on the dark web, you just go check it out and pay it with Bitcoin. Here's another one, Alpha Bay Market. This one's a bit of an eye chart, but on here, several of these vendors, these are different product options you can buy, and it shows credit cards that have been swiped. If you ever go to Costco, you go to an ATM, you usually see that piece of tape that goes over top of the little card reader. That means that it's kind of locked and secure. If that tape's broken, don't use the ATM or don't use that card reader, because there's skimmers, they call, that can be inserted in there. And then when you stick your card in, it reads your card number and your personal information. That's what these guys are selling on the dark web. And they verify it as verified 100% credit card information that they've purchased. So that's where they buy those. There's another one on here. You can buy a device that you can plug in an ATM into the ATM, and just got a card controller with it. Through some programming, it will spit out all of the cash that's inside the ATM. It's got a 5-star rating, similar to Amazon. You want to know whether your vendor's reliable or not. Their dark web has the same system. Based on how many stars they have is how reliable that dark web vendor is. So you know if you're buying this ATM software, this ATM kit, it's probably going to work. You guess why banks don't have their ATMs outdoors anymore? That's why. It came out a couple of years ago. That's when they started disappearing from outdoors at the banks. So how do you protect yourself from all of this crime that's out there and the dark web? So any security person like myself, any IT, cybersecurity professional is going to tell you one layer is not going to be enough. You need to do multiple layers to protect your business. And these are the 5 layers that we recommend, and it's kind of industry standard. These are the 5 that every small business should have. And speaking of small businesses, I got the question before I walked in here. So what's the big attack? Where do people attack now? Is it large enterprises or is it small businesses? If you look at Target, you look at Wells Fargo, they spend millions and billions on their security of their network every year now. As Frank mentioned, Fidelity Investments was one of my accounts when I worked for Brocade. Their IT budget just for new equipment a year was $1 billion for Fidelity. So they purchased $1 billion worth of new equipment every year. And those people have spent so much money on their security that the hackers have learned that it's next to impossible to get into. They found an easier prey. It's the small businesses of 500 employees and less, because they don't take it serious. Nobody wants to attack my small business. They've got nothing to get. Well, it's that kind of mentality that really opens it up. And you'll see here in a minute, but 66% of small businesses don't even have a firewall. And I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. So these are the 5 basic layers. I'm going to walk down through there quick. Firewall for your network protection. I'll talk more about that. Endpoint protection, like your antivirus, anti-spyware. Passwords, multi-factor authentication. Encryption of the data on your hard drive. And data backup as a last ditch resort. So a network firewall. There's the blue star again. It's a question. Best protection against ransomware and network hackers. What percentage of small businesses do not have a firewall? Kind of messed up that one, didn't I? 66. 60. Who said the first 60? There we go. 66% of small businesses do not have a firewall. If you don't have a firewall, there's a device that you can buy, not on the dark web, you can buy it on the internet. It's called a Pineapple router. And it's battery operated. I could drive up to the front of your business. If you don't have a firewall with one of these Pineapple routers, I can hack into your network within 2-3 minutes. Launch a keystroke logger that goes out to any user on that network, and it'll see everything that you're typing. So if you're logging in, your login, your password, I can see everything that you're typing on there once you hack in with a Pineapple router. And those are easily available. So that's your best firewall, your best protection for your network. I'm going to talk more about firewall. People have a little fuzzy look on the firewall. Ransomware. What is ransomware? I kind of mentioned a little bit ago. There we go.
It's the malware where they send you something and you get sucked in, and then they hold your ransom and they say pay $1 million and you'll get your account back.
Give Becky a candy bar. She was listening. So here's the formal description. Ransomware is a type of malware from cryptovirology that threatens to permanently block access to your data unless a ransom is paid. The city of Houston got held ransom. They had to pay the ransom to get their data back. A huge hospital in Kansas City got held ransom, and they had to pay the ransom to get their data back. Yeah, St. Paul just recently. It happens every day. There's somewhere in the United States, large corporations that are still getting hit by it. It's the small ones. I know of hundreds within the Twin Cities that have been hit by ransomware, and you never hear about them because they keep it quiet. It's kind of embarrassing. But we know several that have been hit locally. So your best protection is this little red box right here, and they're not always red. They can be black. There's white, but it's a firewall. A firewall is a small mini computer that only runs one thing, and it's protection of your network. It's all of these bullets on the left. It's a web blocker, it's app control, it's intrusion prevention, it's a gateway, antivirus, spam blocker, it's ransomware. It runs like 10 different applications, filters all your data, all your email, everything going in and out of your network from Comcast on back. It's scanning everything to protect everything inside your office. And I'll show you a bit of a picture there.
Jeff, do you have to get software updated on that all the time, or is it just?
That's a good question. So similar to like an antivirus software, it's a subscription. You pay for the box, but then you have to pay for a software subscription that keeps it updated with the latest infections, the latest app blockers, the latest ransomware, because it needs to know what to look for to be accurate and be effective. And so,
firewall that you showed, was that a brand name that you recommend?
yeah, WatchGuard is one of the top rated ones, and that's.
Not that I'm asking for the school district. We got a whole big bunch of people in charge. I was more thinking of other applications.
Yeah, it's highly rated in the commercial industry. Yep, WatchGuard. So, I get this question a lot. So we have this office, but we work in the cloud applications a lot. We don't have a server, we don't do anything much on our computers. We work on these cloud applications in our business. We don't really need a firewall. Well, here's why you need a firewall. So here's your typical office. Your applications, in the cloud, this is kind of your internet coming into your office. The little black box with the antennas is your Wi-Fi router. Goes to your computer, you're talking to it. So here comes your hacker. Your hacker attacks, just as I mentioned, the Pineapple router, attacks your router inside your office. Once they get into that, now they have access to your computer. So they can see everything on your computer. So now, when you're accessing everything in your applications, they can also access everything in your application because they've got access to your computer. If they have access to your computer, they have access to everything you do on your computer. So your cloud applications are not safe unless you're protecting yourself from the hackers on the outside of the network.
Jeff, how big is this Pineapple router? Is it small?
It's 6 inches square.
And does the hacker have to leave it on site for a little bit, or can they just come up in a briefcase?
It has to be located within the site or connected to the network. So the red brick wall is simulated a firewall. So when you throw a firewall in here, picture that black box as your Comcast modem, Comcast router. Put the firewall in the middle of there. Now it takes away that link that goes to your computer because the hacker can maybe get to your router, but he can't get past that firewall because the firewall is screening everything that goes to inside your office. So if you had 10 users within your office, your 10 users are all on this side of the firewall. So no one can be hacked once you have that firewall in. They're not infallible, but they'll 99.9% better than not having one at all. The next topic is, or the next security point is endpoint protection. Endpoint protection is, they call it endpoint because it's the last point of data. It's your computer, it's your tablet, it's your phone. All of those are endpoints. It's the point where you're working with your data, working with your network. Antivirus, anti-spyware, use a commercial grade antivirus, anti-spyware. We see a lot of people purchase home version of antivirus, put it on their business applications. You think about what you're doing at business. You're working on QuickBooks, you're working on financials, you're working on spreadsheets. At home, you're surfing on the internet, you're streaming videos, you're shopping on the network. They're two completely different functions. Get the commercial antivirus because it's targeted, it's functioning for a business network, not a home network. Same for Windows Pro versus Windows Home. Windows Home computer is going to cost you about $100 less, but the Windows Pro, again, is built for business. It's made for business applications. It'll run the applications more efficiently and it's a lot more secure. The next layer is passwords and multi-factor authentication. In my opinion, this is the single biggest thing that you can do. It's questionable behind the firewall, but passwords and multi-factor authentication is your best protection from being hacked. Eric will probably tell you at the bank, the first thing they do if one of their accounts get hacked, they probably tell them change your password. Change your login, change your password, use multi-factor authentication. I know everybody loves multi-factor authentication. You log in and then you got to get your phone, you get the number and then you put that in. But the idea is if they can log into your account, they don't have your phone. So they can't get that number, which is the next step to get into your account. So they need all of those pieces to get in, and that's what prevents the hacker. So use multi-factor authentication whenever it's available. And don't use the same password. Use multiple passwords. I know it's painful as well, but you can use a password manager like LastPass, Bitwarden are a couple of good ones. And then you only really need to remember one password to get in there, and then the password manager auto-fills all of your logins after that.
Hey Jeff, I just wanted to ask you because one of those password managers, at least one has been hacked.
Yep, like
So, I mean, I sit there and go.
not everything's infallible, but yeah, I still recommend a password manager. It's better than using similar or less secure passwords to log in with.
What's an example of a password manager?
Like LastPass. So what a password, one that you'd probably be familiar with, like Google. If you're on a Google browser and you enter in a login and a password, it asks you, do you want us to remember this and fill it in next time? That's a password manager.
Oh, so that's a good thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good, because I say yes every time.
Yes.
Just because it's easier.
It's the same password for everything. Three passwords the same.
Security tips. Passwords are like underwear. Change them often and never share them with anybody. The next layer is encrypt your data. So you think about, a lot of people are moving to laptops nowadays. Laptops are easier, you can work anywhere, carry them where you want to, your data's always with you, it's always familiar. Everybody loves laptops. What if your laptop gets stolen? Now you have all your data on your on your laptop. You have all your passwords, you can log into everything if they can get into it. Another thing with Windows 11 Pro, Windows 10 Pro is the same way, but Windows 10 is going away. The Pro comes with BitLocker. BitLocker encrypts your data. So what that means is on your hard drive, on the storage of your computer, you turn on BitLocker and it encrypts it all with 256-bit encryption. You don't have to remember all that. But it scrambles all the data in a code that's pretty much unscramblable. So now the person that steals your computer, they can pull out the hard drive. They still can't get anything out of it because that BitLocker is so hard to unencrypt that they can't get the data out of it. So encrypt your data, any data at rest, whether it's at an external hard drive, cloud storage, server data, should be encrypted. That's the fourth layer. The fifth layer, as I mentioned, is kind of a last resort. If you got hit by ransomware, if you had a total backup of everything that you needed, you can tell the ransomware guys to go pound sand because you know you have your entire data. You tell them to go away, you wipe your computer, you download the new data, your data from the cloud or wherever the storage is, back to your computer again, and away you go, you never paid a ransom. So if you have the proper backup, you never have to pay a ransom. It's like life insurance for your business. Google Docs and OneDrive does not count because if you get hit, if your computer is synced to Google Docs, if it's synced to OneDrive, and you get it with ransomware, that ransomware is now smart enough. I told you it got automated, right? The ransomware is now smart enough that knows that your data is synced to this data up here. So guess what? It's going to lock your computer and it's going to lock the data on the cloud so you can't get to either one of them. So that does not count as a backup. External hard drives attached to your computer does not count because it finds those. You must have an air gap. What an air gap means, if it's a professional backup, it does a complete copy of your computer once a day, once a week, whatever you prescribe to do that. And then it copies it to a secure location, and then it cuts off that connection. So it's secure here, and it's secure here, and there's nothing that shows that connection in between. Ransomware can't affect your stuff in the cloud because there's no connection there. It only copies it once a day. The worst risk is if it copies that ransomware to your copy in the cloud. So what? You go back one day, take your yesterday's copy, restore your data, you lost one day. It's better than paying $1 million in a ransom. Most all government regulations, compliancy regulations require a cloud backup nowadays. And I'll say at least 50%, maybe 80% of new clients that we take on at Techie Dudes do not have a backup. It's pretty scary. Techie tips.
Are there certain ones you recommend, like if you don't want to do Google Docs or?
Crash Plan is a good one. We use Ninja One, but that's just a commercial wholesale product. But Crash Plan is kind of a commercial available one that you could purchase. And you can use that as residential as well. There are three things for certain in life: death, taxes, and your computer is going to die. So make sure you back up your data, back up your pictures. We have a lot of people. We do residential work at Techie Dudes as well, and we have a lot of people that come in. My computer just crashed, and I've got my entire life experience of all of my kids on these hard drives. I got to get my data back. And we have a data recovery methodology. We can recover it probably 50% of the time, and then we have a partner that completely, if it's a hard drive, they completely pull it apart and they can read the bits and bytes off the shiny platters inside and recover the data. But it's expensive, as you can imagine. If you have to go to that route, we're talking a couple $1,000s easily. But you get your pictures back. So it's much cheaper to back it up. Back it up, store your passport drive with a separate hard drive in a separate place. If you have a good friend, neighbor, talk him into backing up his. He stores his at your house, you store yours at his house. If there's a fire or a tornado, you can get it back from some other location. If it's your personal one, take it to your office. If it's your office, take it to your house. Keep it in a different location.
I have a question for you on your backup hard drive. If you don't have it plugged in all the time, but only when you're doing a backup, if you set it.
That's considered an air gap. Now that's good. But keep it in another location. Don't unplug it and leave it on top of your computer. Talked about that. And the last piece I'll talk about is cyber insurance. I don't know if we have any insurance agents here. A couple of insurance agents. Yeah, Bill, of course. When you sign up for cyber insurance, there's usually a big long questionnaire. You check all these different boxes. Do you have a firewall? Do you encrypt your data? And usually you need your IT professional to kind of help answer a bunch of those because they're pretty cryptic to most people. The more of those boxes you check, the lower your rates are. But don't lie on it, because if you say you have a firewall and you get hacked, it invalidates your entire cybersecurity policy and they don't have to pay you. So make sure you're filling that out accurately, but you can look at it as kind of a checklist for your business. Do you have all of these things within your business? And maybe you need more of those if you can't check very many of those boxes. So highly recommend cyber insurance. So, another question, Blue Star. What are the 5 layers of cybersecurity?
Dual
Don't,
factor.
just give me one.
Dual factor authentication.
Firewall.
Okay, candy bar.
Firewall.
Candy bar. Oh, that was the bonus. That was the-
Multi-factor
Bill gets
authentication.
one.
Did we get say that one? Multi-factor authentication.
Bill. Multi-factor is one. Uncorrelated.
Change your password or passwords.
Passwords and
Password
multi-factor
managers.
is the same.
Did we get encryption yet?
Encryption, Becky?
Is this your third one? I just know all these.
Firewall, we said that.
Did we do the data backup?
Did anybody say endpoint protection? Endpoint protection. We have a candy bar left? Give me my candy bar. Passwords, multi-factor authentication, endpoint encryption, or encryption of your data, and data backup. That's all I've got. Any other questions? Yeah, Becky.
Of course.
Well, you're like the second expert. You got all those candy bars.
Well, because you know how many friends we have to do this work. But anyway, we've got an outside firm that does our security. I don't even know for sure what they do. I think they're called Smart. I don't know what they're called. But does that mean everything is covered? I mean, how do we know?
Are they IT providers or are they, so there's different security levels, whether it's property security, camera security, or IT
What's the
security.
IT stuff?
So IC security, and not every vendor does the same kind of industry standards that we do. They may sell you a firewall, an endpoint protection. They may not encrypt everything. They may not do backups. Not every customer is willing to pay for all of these things, and each level is kind of like an insurance policy. How much risk are you willing to take by not purchasing a firewall, by not encrypting your data? So it's up to the individual, and it's hard to say. You'll have to ask what levels of security they have.
So should I still do something myself, or does Norton work at all?
Norton has a VPN or Norton has an antivirus.
Well, either or.
Norton is I'll say they're an effective program. I'm not a huge fan of Norton personally because they're expensive and they try to do everything in the kitchen sink. And so when you have an antivirus, have an endpoint protection, they have to run all the time. Every bit of data, everything that you're typing, the antivirus like Norton has to scan all of that. Norton tries to do everything under the sun. And so when you load Norton, you can expect your computer is going to slow down. There's other versions that, like we use Bitwarden, which is rated very highly, but it doesn't slow your computer down nearly as much. So they're not all rated equally.
And how much of a benefit is having a VPN?
That was gonna be my question.
Sorry.
No,
How much is-
You asked it.
Of a benefit, is it to have a VPN?
How much of benefit to have a VPN? So a VPN is very similar to having that firewall. When you go to a VPN, your computer sets an encrypted tunnel or direct tunnel from your computer to a data center somewhere that has the firewall, has all the security before it goes out on the internet. It's kind of a big picture. But if you have a VPN and you're working from home, it really kind of negates the purpose of a firewall.
I was just gonna say about the VPN.
What's the difference between a Mac and a PC? Is there any security?
That's a good question. One we get a lot. So the question was, what's the difference between having a Mac and a PC operating system? And it used to be that a Mac was much more secure, and a lot of people bought the Macs because they weren't being infected nearly as much. Well, the hackers learned that message. They learned that, all right, there's all these Macs out here, and nobody's even touching them. It's like an open field. So Mac has now caught up with Windows PC infections at a double-digit rate versus Windows is like a single-digit increase nowadays. So Mac is catching up very fast with infection rates versus Windows. You're next.
Oh, I was just gonna add the VPN thing. I've never used one or known a lot about them, but I recently traveled to China, and for some people who haven't worked with VPNs, we learned that if you want to get onto like Google Maps or anything, it's all filtered out in China. So we use apps that provide a VPN, which basically means you're logging into a system in like South Korea to get, so like I can still get onto Google and Wikipedia and all things in China by using a VPN to get around the Chinese filters. Interesting. If you ever go to
Yeah.
China, talk to me. I learned some things.
Anyway, Andy, you the next? Oh, back here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say for password protection as well as like two-factor, multi-factor, there's an app called Keeper that is by far, I mean, I was pretty deep into like crypto and all of that for a period of time and it protected. There was no chance of that getting beat. There are probably some better ones. So it's, I think it's available on in your iPhone, but
Change the password.
it offers just about everything for the multi-factor and your passwords.
And that's a good point. So the multi-factor authentication and the password managers, they work together with all of your devices. So if you sign up for LastPass, Bitwarden, whatever the password manager you sign up for, you log into it on your computer, you log into it on your phone, and any tablets, any other devices, and it shares your passwords between your devices. So if you create a new login and a password on your phone, your computer knows that same password and login as well. So you don't have to remember it everywhere. It transfers as long as you have the same program. Tony.
So I know time has ran up, but first thing is, in the real estate business now, we get emails now that are literally, here's your settlement statement for your upcoming closing, and it is the most realistic. They use the logos, the email addresses, everything from our title companies. And I'm telling you, if you click on that, you're screwed, right? And so they're getting very sophisticated. What would it, is an average, would you say, cost to have your company come in and just look at our computer, look at what we're doing, kind of give us an assessment and recommendations?
So Techie Dudes is unique to MSPs. We do that network and security health assessment for free. It's about $1,000 value. Could be $2,000 or $3,000, we've been told, but we'll come in. We have software tools that we purchase. We come in and plug into your computers, your servers. It collects the health and security of the information. We take it back to our lab and it run it through a report generator. It spits out 36 different reports. Some of them are over 100 pages long. We'll create a summary of 1 or 2 pages, bring back 3 or 4 reports, and then give you a summary of here's what our findings. I call it the Clint Eastwood report, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we'll give you recommendations if there are anything, what to shore up or health of system, maybe things that just need updating, maybe you need new equipment, whatever that is. We're happy to do that.
Can you tell everybody where you're located?
So Techie Dudes is located, we have 2 offices, one in Vadnais Heights. Everybody knows where Jimmy's Bar and Grill is, kind of a landmark. We're across the street behind Jimmy's Bar and Grill, and then we've got another office in Fridley that opened last year right on University Avenue. So business is good and we're looking for more, but not in cybercrime.
Awesome. Let's give it a round of applause.